I used to be camera shy. I was so conscious about how people will perceive me when I can't see them, right? But then you start a business and you very quickly learn you gotta overcome that because people need to see you when they can't see you. Like, when you're not there to defend and explain something. I've learned that sometimes just showing up and being authentic is what people are looking for, right? Sometimes fumbling on air, saying, we're not perfect, right? And I think that's what people want to relate to. I'm on this podcast, no makeup, nothing. Don't rehearse it. Just show people who you are and be ready to be vulnerable. I started taking my kids to markets. I didn't want my kids to be on social, but I realized they're part of my journey. And it's something I have to accept. I can't coach my kids on how to behave when we are recording or when we're on socials. So people get what they get.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Talking Purpose. I am so excited. I'm here with Caroline Ndiangui. She is the founder of ITSO Coffee, and we're so happy to have her here. Caroline, how are you today?
I am doing well. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you. I mean, before we got on this, started recording, we were just talking about how crazy things are in the world and how busy you are and life of an entrepreneur. So thank you so much for making the time because, you have a lot going on. So let's dive right in. So let's start at the beginning because I understand you grew up on a coffee farm in Kenya, which is so amazing. So what was that like and how did it shape your journey to entrepreneurship?
Yes, I did grow up on a coffee farm in Kenya. I'll give you a little bit of context of farm ownership in Kenya. So men inherit land from their fathers. So then they get a wife who gets married into the family and they nurture the land and produce whatever the land produces. So my mom gets married into this family that has coffee and we find a really nice, hardworking grandmother. So we grew up harvesting coffee, taking it to the factory. Very good, fun times as a child. And then fast forward, when I became an adult, I started thinking, wait a minute, how come we women were the ones doing all this work on the farm? Grandpa got to go and collect the proceeds. So, because he owned the farm, because the deed was under his name, which was okay. He was a good man, so he brought the proceeds home. But to be fair, I think women should have a right to, claim some of the proceeds because they're the ones who are doing the work. And so times have now changed, and women are actually able to market coffee as women's coffee. And that's how it actually came to be born. Just growing up, remembering that we did most of the work, which was good. We enjoyed it. But now there's this whole movement where actually women can now actually claim the proceeds. And so I was looking around. We have great coffee in Kenya, by the way. Do have bragging rights there. So I was looking around and trying to figure out how can I help these women actually maybe uplift them economically, make them more able to actually make the money for themselves, right? So I brought in some coffee from Kenya and I wanted to test the market. I gave it to some friends and they said, we want more. So I went back and I asked, I talked to my women's cooperative and I said, hey guys, I think some people love your coffee. So they said, oh yeah, we've really been looking for market access and we would love for you to join our cooperative. So I ended up joining the cooperative. So we are non-producing member of the Kipkelion Women in Coffee, and that's where we source our coffee. So it's grown by women and owned by women, and all the proceeds, we buy the coffee straight from them, no middlemen. But at the same time, we get to be at the table as non-producing members to hear the challenges that they are facing. So it's exciting.
Wow. So you're like on the ground as part of this movement, selling the fruits, literally the fruits of their labor. And it sounds like it's like this beautiful circle. So that's amazing. But I've heard the coffee market could be a podcast on its own, just even understanding how I think it's called the C market. Is that what I've heard? The C market? Okay. So, what do most people get completely wrong about where their coffee comes from? And what's the biggest gap between how coffee is grown and then how we perceive it here in, say, North America and the Western world?
I feel like just because coffee is not grown here, we don't understand it as well. We understand the roasting part because that's something that can be done here. Um, but I think, there's some people who don't even know that coffee it's either red or yellow as a cherry. And then once we take it off the husk, it actually is green. Then we roast it and it becomes brown.
Okay. Wow. Red and yellow. I did not know that.
Yes, that's the color of coffee cherries, most common. But I think what a lot of people don't understand is that there is intense labor in the whole process of growing coffee. A lot of coffee takes a whole year for a full harvest. So like in Kenya, we do have something called a fly crop that comes in around July. It's just a small, teaser. But our main harvest comes in December. So you can imagine this producer, the whole year is nurturing this coffee, pruning, trying to figure out how to mulch, then at the end of it, harvesting. And you can't harvest coffee by yourself. You have to actually have the team. That's why growing up, we were the team. Because it can ripen and very rapidly those cherries can become overripe, which then kind of spoils the quality. You have to pick it at that right ripeness for it to maintain the good quality. So it's very labor intensive. And so I think what people don't understand is when we talk about compensation to the farmers, why do they need to be paid fairly? You can imagine going for a whole year without getting paid for something. And then at the end of the year, getting paid little, a little bit lower than you should be getting paid. It becomes unsustainable. In fact, like my grandmother at some point had to give up coffee growing. Understanding where your coffee comes from, understanding the story behind it helps you appreciate the cost of it.
Definitely. Yeah, because I think, I go to McDonald's and I pay $1 for a coffee. But obviously there's been 1,000 steps and people along the way who have been a part of this. And so talk to us about doing things differently and how that's looked as you've been growing ITSO Coffee. Because obviously one of them is the fair trade, the transparency, paying people fair wages. So how is that different from traditional coffee companies and what sort of challenges and successes have you found along the way?
So I'll say that right now, as a startup that's connected to the origin, we stand in a place of privilege in that we can actually go back and we understand the whole process. We understand the seasons, we understand the crop. But at the same time, we understand the challenges on ground. For us, that connection has been so important because it helps us shape the story of our coffee and be able to tell it and deliver it and explain why our coffee is good. Why is our coffee more expensive? What is the difference? What sets us apart? We are able to explain what we are doing with our coffee proceeds because we are connected to the actual producers. But most importantly, it's seeing the impact on the ground. Unfortunately, a lot of coffee companies are not able, maybe they would love to, but they're not able to connect to the origin to see the impact that they're actually driving. And for us, just seeing it is surreal. I'll give you an example. Like, for example, in our women's cooperative group, we have something we call microloans. So if some of our women need to expand their farms or they're having some emergency and they need some funding, they're able to come and apply for a loan. And we as a women's group are able to give it to them. We are also able to grow seedlings. So we fund we have some capital investment towards seedlings, where if someone wants to start a farm or if one of our producers wants to expand, we are able to loan them that or sell it to them at a lower price. So we are able to grow the coffee growing within ourselves. But also another very significant impact is that these women, once they receive the proceeds from their coffee sales, as a group, they have bargaining power. So they take out health insurance for all their members and their families before that money is touched. So they have learned that as a group, they have bargaining power. So they're able to negotiate rates. And it's just amazing to see, like, these women's families are covered. They all have family, like coverage, healthcare. So it's good. Now, the other thing is they have something called youth empowerment. So what's happening is we are seeing a shift where a generation, the Gen Z generation does not want so much to get into coffee farming, which is fair. I think for us, it's educating them and showing them equity in the supply chain that they can actually tap on. So these women have programs where they're training youth to do different things, like, alternative processing of coffee. And then they sell the coffee and they're like, I made money and I didn't even have to grow the coffee myself. I just bought it from the women. Or, okay, well, plant seedlings, sell it back to us, or just come and do our IT,
Yeah, that's that is actually, good
Yeah, like
call.
find a
Different
place that
skills.
you like, but it's all about youth empowerment. Like, how can we bring our youth into the coffee supply chain again and get them to have this appetite to be part of it? So I love the vision of these women and I love being part of them. So impact on the ground. Now, there are challenges. And part of it is sometimes the market is very harsh. And so sometimes these women don't always get to. So, like I said, coffee growing is a whole year. So there is a lot of expenses incurred throughout the year. Sometimes, pruning, you have to hire labor, and, depending on what's going on in the country, it could be more expensive. So sometimes you just are trying to break even, or at least make a margin, right? So we want our women to get to the point where they're making a margin so that then it becomes an investment, not just, something that they're doing. So that's a challenge. We are still trying to get there, where we can actually get to a point where the farm inputs are not offsetting the margins that these women are getting. So giving them that ready market. I can go on and on about challenges, especially now with the war.
I know, with everything, shipping it, getting it to market, logistics. Well, I mean, let's, while we're here, let's just tap into that for a second. I've spoken to a number of entrepreneurs who are doing something similar to you, where they're importing goods from countries that still have infrastructure challenges of getting goods to market, and then getting the goods all the way across an ocean. So talk to us a little bit about that. How are you finding success and profit margins in a business that is not homegrown here we're both in Canada, but let's say North America? How are you managing to make it work? Because it sounds like it's a lot.
Yeah. And to be honest, it's been a learning journey for me. Operating across different regulatory systems, where I'm doing everything myself. I don't have any people in the middle, but I appreciate that because I get to understand the journey. I get to understand the whole supply chain, the logistics, the currencies, and most of the expectations that our customers have from us. Last year, there was the whole thing about coffee prices just exploding. We had to deliver a message to our customers and tell them, unfortunately, we have to raise the price of coffee. I'm sure you experienced that as well. And now the good news is that, well, the coffee prices are now going down. However, you have these whole other new challenges. There's a war. So now we're experiencing fuel surcharges. Last week we just got slapped with a war surcharge. I didn't even know there was something like that, but well, now we know. And it's more about trying to figure out how to balance that without increasing our costs to the customer, right? Which is okay right now because fine, we got our surcharge, but at least the coffee prices had kind of started trending down. So we are about where we were last year, which is good. But we want our customers to understand that while we were expecting that we would lower prices a little bit, the reality is that there are all these other things that are coming up that offset those, gains that we had. And so hopefully everyone is staying on top of the news so that they can understand, because it's not just coffee. I think we're going to see prices go up in a lot of other products, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. That's going to happen. So, well, this is obviously very, very tough, because here you are, like you signed up to be an entrepreneur, and here you are, navigating this global crisis. And you can't just, drive down the road to a warehouse like some people can. And so, I mean, good for you for sticking with it, and I hope that we can like check back in with you to see how things are going, because obviously, I'm sure there's a number of entrepreneurs who can learn from what you're going through and the lessons that you're learning along the way. Because logistics in itself are a big challenge for a number of companies, especially people who are importing goods. Was there ever a world, sorry, this is more just pure curiosity. Was there ever a world where you thought, oh, it would be easier if I just like bought it from a roaster in Canada? Or were you, like this is the beating heart of your business is getting the coffee from the women's group?
I never thought about ever getting it from a roaster, and the women are my biggest driver. Like they, my fellow women, they're doing great work, and their story needs to be told. We need to empower them to be independent. Let me tell you, Katie, when a lot of the aid was cut last year, whatever, I said, we got to look at it. I know we lost aid that was going to a lot of important causes, but for us, that's fine. Just give us a space to empower ourselves, give us market access, and we'll sell goods and we'll be able to sustain ourselves. Maybe we don't need aid. And what I see with these women is that if they can take out health coverage because they have market access, then they don't need aid for maternity care. They can sustain themselves. So that's okay. At the end of it, it's about, should I get coffee from my neighbor down the street? I don't know if that's really going to be impactful, because that's their story. They have a story under their establishment, why they're roasting, maybe family story, maybe something. But deep down is we have the opportunity to tell a story, and we should not let that just go ignored, right?
Yeah. And I'm sure that is part of a big part of your brand. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about how storytelling how has it resonated with your customer? Because shifting gears a little bit, you have the supply chain, you have your coffee, you have your raison d'etre. But how is that generating into capital and market share? How is your story speaking to your customers? How have you found your ideal customer through telling these stories, and building that brand?
Yes. You know what? Coffee is coffee, right? But there are people who look for that transparency over perfection. They want to connect with the product in a different way, where they feel like they're part of a good purpose, right? They expect honesty. For us, it's so important in building trust, right? So for us, what has worked best is showing the process, telling the real stories when we are on ground, telling the challenging moments. But at the same time, we have a lot of really enjoyable moments when we're at markets, dancing, drinking coffee, sharing coffee, just, spreading good vibe. Um, but at the same time, telling the coffee drinkers, guess what? There's a story behind this, and these are the faces behind it, and makes them feel like they are really part of the story. I am supporting this great mission. So, channels like in-person experiences, social media have really helped us build those connections, and we look to connect even more as we are trying to get into retail now. But our journey starts from meeting our customers where they are. There's nothing as rewarding when you see people brighten up when they hear our story, when they try our coffee, when they connect with us.
Yep. And it happened here. Look, we're on a podcast because I met you at Ecom North, and I really enjoyed chatting with you and your team, and they were so wonderful. And the coffee, guys, the coffee is delicious. My gosh, it's amazing. Find a retailer in Edmonton, please. I need it out here. I want to share something that I'm building alongside this podcast. It's a community for purpose-driven, product-based founders who don't want to build alone and who want to grow smarter, not just harder. After years of supporting founders at Shopify, I kept seeing the same thing. Mission-led entrepreneurs doing meaningful work, but lacking a peer space that helps them move faster and make better decisions without compromising their values. This community is designed to be a growth accelerator, a place to learn what's working, pressure test ideas, share real tactics, and build momentum together so growth feels intentional, supportive, and sustainable. If you're interested, join the waitlist. Find the link in the show notes below. But it was just so amazing. And yeah, you're right. There is a connection and there's a lot of culture around coffee. And so being able to create those small moments in person, I'm sure are huge. So what was, you talk about in-person moments. What was the biggest unlock for you or so far in growing ITSO? Was it those in-person moments or was it perhaps something else?
We have done a couple of great events like, Ecom North. I think for us, one of our greatest moments was we got an award by a company called Roottree. And they got to tell our story. There's nothing as important as when someone unbiased tells a story about you, because then, there's even a higher trust level. But yeah, 2 years ago, when we were trying to figure out, what is this coffee business going to look like? I mean, we have the intent, we have the coffee, but how do we bring it all together so it becomes a business? So we applied for they're giving away a packaging award. So they're a packaging company, and they're big in North America. And we got to, go and apply, tell what we are doing, who we are. And they loved the connection of that we are working with women. We're trying to empower them. So we won the award and they brought us to the spotlight. And I'll say that just uplifted us so much. Just having someone else pinpoint you on their social media, on their website, that is undisputed proof that what you're doing is great.
I love that. That is so fantastic. And you're totally right, kind of hinting a little bit at the power of PR is having other people tell your story on your behalf. You can do all of the storytelling and you do such a great job of building so much trust in who you are as a business, but having someone say it for you, it really locks in okay, this is for real. This company is for real. They're doing amazing stuff. It's not a stunt. It's actually real. And so that's huge. And congratulations, by the way. That's awesome.
Win, win, win.
I love it. And also your energy. It's so infectious. I'm sure when you meet people and you're smiling and you're talking about coffee, they're just like, I want everything. I want it all. Put it all in the cart.
And that's why I like going out, because I like meeting people and laughing and sharing moments.
Oh, that's amazing. So with trust and transparency at the heart of the business, what channels or strategies have worked best for you? Has it been through social? Has it been through in person? Or maybe, like you said, it's been through some of these more PR style moments?
Socials. I'll tell you one thing. When I post like events where we're gonna be, or markets, I get people who actually come to the event and they say, I saw this on your Instagram. And I'm like, you did? And you came. Amazing. Yeah, but and of course we have participated in, collaborations that have helped kind of build our social media as well. So when we post, people remember us from, oh, I remember this was from, this event, or this collaboration that they did with this person, or like even we did a fair trade giveaway, and we got a lot of followers, and we can see that now people know we are fair trade. People that probably, didn't know we existed. Yeah, but now they're following us because they saw us on a fair trade Instagram. So the socials have really worked, but also the in-person events. I cannot tell you how many people reach out to us like you because they've seen us at an in-person event. And we love going to in-person events because it helps us drive our excitement about what we're doing, and for people to see it and taste our coffee at the same time. Oh, those moments are precious to us.
Oh, I believe it. Because that's the other thing. It's like, I love online e-commerce. I love it. As you know, coming from Shopify, nothing can match actually tasting a coffee in person and being like, hey, this is good. Because you know what, once you get to a certain level of coffee drinking and you graduate from Tim Hortons, like you know what you like. And so being able to know that coffee is what you like is, you and hearing your story in person, that's really how you start rooting that loyalty right away. But tell us more. I'm super interested in social because, there's a lot of commentary out there, and I kind of fall into the camp of pay to play. I still believe that that's, a growth unlock, but obviously organic is really working for you. So what sort of strategies have you used to ensure that, despite algorithm changes, that people are still seeing your stuff and people are still engaging with you guys?
So I'll tell you, I think I used to be camera shy. I was so paranoid about
You? No, this is a lie. People, fake news on the podcast.
I was so conscious about how people will perceive me when I can't see them, right? But then you start a business and you very quickly learn you got to overcome that because people need to see you when they can't see you. Like, when you're not there to defend and explain something. So I've learned that sometimes just showing up and being authentic is what people are looking for, right? Sometimes fumbling on air, saying, I I don't have to.
It's real though.
Yes, that's what, because we're not perfect, right? And I think that's what people want to relate to. Like, I'm on this podcast, no makeup, nothing. this
You have no makeup on? Oh man.
I did think about going to put on makeup, but I was like,
Tell me what is your skincare routine?
it's the coffee, girl.
I'm
It's the
jealous.
coffee.
Everyone, you heard it here. Perfect skin, like Caroline. Get ITSO Coffee. I love
I
it.
know, yeah, but I think for us, it's just being real. Like, don't rehearse it. Just show people who you are and be ready to be vulnerable. You know what? I started taking my kids to markets, and I realized I didn't want my kids to be on social, but I realized they're part of my journey, and it's something I have to accept. I can't, I can't coach my kids on how to behave when we are recording or when we're on socials. So people get what they get.
And I'm sure they love it. I'm sure it's incredibly
Yes,
entertaining.
that's what it was at that moment, and it was captured.
I love it. No, that's good. And you know what? I'm sure that there are people out there, again, like there's tons of small businesses who have no budget to run ads. And to hear from you that organic social is still a channel that is alive and well. And if you work at it and you work hard and you show up, that you can actually drive traffic and engagement and fans from an organic strategy. Like, honestly, I think that is going to be music to people's ears because so often we hear from people that the algorithm is just is killing everybody. But you are proof that, people are showing up to your events because they saw it on social media, and, they're coming back and they're coming to your store and they're buying the coffee because they see you on social media. And so, I think that will be a really big unlock for a lot of listeners. So thank you for sharing
It is a
that.
testament. Just be you.
Totally. And I mean, go and look at ITSO Coffee's social. Like, have a look if you're in a world where you're struggling and you think that you're just posting into a void. Like, go take a look at what they're doing. Because it's not like, it's not just, taking one picture 5 days a week and with a caption. Like, they're showing up. Caroline's showing up as the founder. She's being the face of the brand. Like, that's huge. And so being able to maybe take some of their strategies, I think will be really, really important. Um, what is one thing you wish more founders understood about building an impact-driven business so far? If someone's looking to build something, or they're at the moment where they're pulling their hair out and they want to quit, do you want them to understand?
I think clarity. Be clear as to what you want so that you can bring it out. I think all of us have an inherent good we brought to this earth. And if that's through your startup, just know what that is. So, like for us, it's women empowerment. And so we want to drive that. It excites us. So just figure out what excites you in your startup, and that passion will take you places.
Know your why, because at the end of the day, if you're just selling crap for the sake of selling crap, eventually the money is going to be boring, or it's not going to be enough, and it's not going to fuel you. It's not going to get you up in the morning, or you're going to have hard days where the money isn't coming in and you're just selling stuff that you don't really like and you aren't making an impact anywhere. So that is such good advice. Tell us what is next for ITSO Coffee. What can we look forward to?
So we are focused on growing our distribution so we can come to Edmonton. Um, getting onto more shelves and into more spaces while staying true to our sourcing model and our cause, and continuing to build products that meet our people where they are and where they need it, and to solve the need for them. So we have two groups. We have the women we support with our coffee, but we also have our coffee lovers. And at the end of the day, they're quite as important. Both are quite as important to us. So trying to make them happy as we might be able to. We cannot make everyone happy, that's for sure. But we will try. We will try and get our products to, fulfill your needs and grow with us.
That is so perfect. And what a great way to end off. And so now, if you don't mind, and I know the answer to the first question, it's so funny because you are a coffee brand, but let's pivot into our rapid fire questions. So don't surprise me. Are you a coffee girl or a tea girl?
You want to know the truth? Coffee.
Oh, I was like, guys, she's gonna blow our minds. Oh my gosh, that you had me on the edge of my seat here. Okay. What is your favorite ITSO Coffee blend?
So I love our medium roast because it's so well balanced. Some people love our dark roast, to each their own. But even for my cold brews, it's the medium. Love me some good Kenyan medium roast.
Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Let me tell you, I have learned how to be both. Just because
Okay.
business will take you there, but I am more functional at night. I mean, I can go up till like 1 a.m. I don't know why. From noon, everything just opens up for me. But in the morning, I need my coffee. I need my coffee to get my brain cells moving. But yeah, I've learned to be both. So it just depends. But I'm more functional as a night owl.
Yeah. I would agree, because here I am, like right before the podcast, I was like, I need a coffee. I need another coffee. So I could be sharp.
The fuel.
How do you Yeah, I need fuel. I mean, it's not the good stuff, guys. Unfortunately, I will need to have it shipped, but it'll do.
Let's
It's a
talk
hit of
after this.
caffeine. It'll do. Yeah, definitely. How do you decompress after a work day?
Gym. Oh my gosh, gym is when I have those sweat beads, it makes me forget about the nose that I have gotten that day. And also, let me tell you quick. I digress a little bit here, but I go to a class with like 60, 70-year-olds, and I see these women pumping iron, and I'm like, come on.
Wow.
I'm like, you gotta do this, Caroline. Lock
Yeah.
it in, lock it in. But it's also the kind of drive that gets me to my energy up till like late at night, because I'll go to the gym in the evening and then I'll come so pumped. I'm like, lock it in, Caroline. Go do those applications. Go, So yeah, gym is my medicine.
That is good advice and something that I need to be reminded of sometimes. Exercise is good. Not sitting is good. What is your go-to comfort food?
Chocolate. Love me some good chocolate. Anything chocolate, I'm in.
Yeah. Are you like the 70% coca, or are you like hardcore like dark chocolate, or are you, like a Lindor milk chocolate kind
I
of?
love dark. I love dark. Also because I have this, I drink my coffee black. So dark chocolate is what speaks to me the best. But my favorite is the orange peel, dark chocolate. Oof.
That sounds very luxurious. I love this. What is your current brand obsession?
I love the popcorn from Eatable. They
Oh, yes.
and the good thing is they're always coming up with like something new so I never know what to expect from them. But I gotta be careful because I can eat those things. I can eat their popcorn. So
But you have the gym, so you're fine.
we have to find a happy balance between gym and eatable popcorn.
This is true. I love that. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, this has been so amazing. Caroline, where can people find you if they have more questions for you about ITSO Coffee, anything?
Drop us a note on any of our socials. So we are Instagram, ITSO Coffee, TikTok. We're still trying to figure out TikTok, but we're getting there. Email us, info@itsocoffee.com. If you want to grab a bag, we're on Amazon. Grab a bag on our website. We are on a couple independent stores, not yet in the West, but mainly here in the East Coast. But drop us a note, especially if you grab our coffee. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know how you like it. But also sign up for our email newsletter, because we are always running specials and we're always telling what's next. And there's something big coming up, actually. So sign up. Mm-hmm.
Ooh, definitely. Okay, everyone sign up. That sounds amazing. Well, Caroline, thank you so much. This has been so wonderful, like hearing, the real experience of like someone who grew up on a coffee farm is now running a coffee company, and all of the challenges and amazing moments and wins in between. Thank you so much for just being here, being vulnerable and talking about all those things. I really think our listeners will appreciate it.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you for having me.
Well, that's a wrap on another episode of Talking Purpose. My hope is that today's episode gave you the tools and the inspiration to lead with even more intention. If you enjoyed the episode, please show your support by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. It's the best way to help us grow this community of changemakers. If you have a question for our guest or a topic you want us to dive into next, drop a comment below. I read every single one.